welcome to the Babbling Bee, and today I want to talk about summer. Now, if you know me at all in real life, you will know that I am not a summertime girly. I am a creature of the autumn or the spring, a little bit of winter. I mostly just love Christmas. I just really struggle with summer. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I have like the opposite problem to what many people struggle with in winter, where they just feel really sad. Like I don't want to officially say that I have seasonal depression in summer, but I definitely notice a big shift in my mood, in my energy. I find the constant humidity of the Midwest very frustrating and exhausting. When it's like 92 degrees outside and 100% humidity, bright sunshine relentlessly all day, forget about it. I'm not a happy camper. However, equally at the same time, it has become very increasingly important to me in the last few years of my life. Like, I've just been kind of on a journey over the last 10 years or so of really wanting to live more seasonally. Like, I do think that we need seasons and we need seasonal rituals and hobbies and traditions that we can look forward to. And I am a member of a church now that practices the liturgical year. So following the church calendar and experiencing those seasons has been really healing for me and really wonderful. But in terms of just the natural seasons of the year, I try to lean into each one as much as I can and do things that are in line with that season. So I'm trying to embrace summeriness as much as I can, and I'm working on my Pinterest board. I'm trying to get into the headspace and just think about what I can enjoy in the summertime and what I can look forward to. And with that in mind, I had a conversation with my husband about it this year, and I said, I need a theme. I need a summer theme for, sorry, that's the cat's automatic food containers. I need a summer theme for 2026 so that I can kind of plan and just think around that theme and make it into like an aesthetic project, which will get me, I think, into a more positive headspace of like enjoying stuff. So we're gonna see how that goes. That's their food thing again, sorry. So I just have some things around me today that I want to show you. And these are things that I am planning on engaging with this summer, which I hope will help me to feel, engaged with the season, but also, if I'm being honest, distracted from it a little bit, because I find with summer, especially once we get into July, like once we get into the middle of July, I'm just like, I'm so done with this. This is horrible and I just don't even want to think about it. So I try to find things that I can do to distract myself, and books are a great form of distraction, are they not? So let me show you my bingo board first that I made. It's just on a wrinkly piece of printer paper. I made it in Canva, and the theme of this summer that my husband and I have settled on, we're calling it Porch Swing Summer. Now, do we have a porch swing? No, but we did. We got some plants for the balcony outside. We kind of spruced up that little area, and we have been having a lot more, we're calling it porch time. Just sitting out there with something cold to drink, looking at my plants. I got some herbs, I got a begonia, and I got some impatiens because they can all handle, everything that I got is like shade friendly because we don't get a ton of sun on our balcony. So porch swing summer, the idea behind that is just like when you are relaxing, actually really relax and maybe take a break from your phone and just vibe. So that's the plan. That's the theme that we're going with. And I made myself a little bingo board of activities, things to read, things that are just to have in my mind as something that I can plan on a given week or look forward to doing on any given week to just help me cope a little bit better with the weather and my headspace. So some things that I have on here, I would like to read 2 books for Jane Austen July. I want to go to the farmer's market. I want to get through, my goal is to get through 3 episodes of All Creatures Great and Small this summer. I am horribly slow at watching all TV shows. I gotta like work myself up to it. So I put it on the bingo board so I can tally up each one and hopefully get through 3 episodes of All Creatures Great and Small, which I do think will be a lovely distracting thing to watch. I also want to watch the other Bennett sister once I'm done reading the book. I have 10 hours left of the audiobook, so still trucking away at that. Solo movie time. So that's like a Taylor movie, not something my husband will at all be interested in, not something that I need or want him to watch with me, just something that I am purely interested in for myself. I put 2 water days on the bingo board, so that's just hopefully to get us out of the house and going to a lake or a river. I feel pretty landlocked in the area that we live in, just because like you have to drive to go do a water activity. Some of the lakes around here I don't like because they're like murky and swampy. But I'm trying to explore more options for water things to do. And I have found a couple of lakes that are like an hour away that seem like they would be good for swimming. So I want to try to do at least 2 water days this summer. And then I have several ideas for books to read. I'll talk to you about some of those here in just a minute. Watch Rear Window. Rear Window with Jimmy Stewart is one of my summer movies. I love that film so completely. And I just crave it when it is like oppressively hot and I feel like I'm going insane. Like the Hitchcock vibe is just, it's so perfect. A nice glass of white wine, some cheese and crackers, watching Rear Window. Please sign me up for that. So that's on here. Rewatch the Avatar series, Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I watched for the first time last year. I got horribly sick and I was sick for like 2.5 months with bronchitis. And my husband and I watched Avatar together. He had already seen it. I had never watched it before. And I just loved it so much. So now we have it on Blu-ray and we have started our summer rewatch of Avatar, which is like a little tradition. At least for now, it's a tradition. A couple of like baking things, reread a favorite book, make a summery drink, which I have already checked off, did that the other night. So the goal with this is not to complete every single square. Like, it's fine. I don't have a reward. If I check everything off, there's no reward that I get. As my friend put it, the reward for completing this is just enjoying life. Like, all of these are just enjoyable, nice things that I can do. So however many I get to, that's fine. I'm really trying not to make it pressured, but I've stuck it on the refrigerator. And reading on the porch, I've tallied that one because I feel like we're going to be doing that kind of a lot. So I'm just going to put little tally marks for every time that either we have read on the porch time together or I have porch time by myself. Because I just want to be aware that like I have been intentional about doing that. It feels very mindful and relaxing, mostly minus the sound of car engines revving in the parking lot, but that aside, it's a nice activity. Okay, so that's the porch swing summer bingo board of self-care and distraction. And then from there, I'm going to start by telling you I'm just going to show you a few of my favorite, what I would consider summary books that I've read in the past, just for inspiration. And then the rest of what I have is just books and movies and activities that I would like to have as options. It's kind of all part of my like summer distraction pile of possibilities stuff. So, some favorite summary reads of mine. This is very specific to me, so it's not prescriptive necessarily, but A Letter of Mary by Laurie R. King. I don't know about you, but I personally really crave an archaeological mystery in the summertime. Like anything that has to do with Egypt or going to the Middle East to do archaeological stuff. Like I just find that very appealing in the summer. Is this the third book? I don't know what number this is in the Mary Russell series. I think it is the third one. Hopefully I'm not wrong about that. I'm sure I've talked about this series on this channel before. This is one of my favorite series ever. And I'm usually not very good at reading series, but I've read like 10 of these. So that's very good going for me. And this follows Mary Russell, who is an academic, scholar, feminist, Jewish woman in the early 1900s, studying at Oxford, runs into Sherlock Holmes one day on the Sussex Downs and becomes his apprentice, and the adventures go from there. I just love and adore this series so much. It is like the perfect academia, mystery, religious studies combo for me. Like there's just so many things going on in this series that I love. And yeah, so this one is to do with Mary's friend, an archaeologist, has just returned from Palestine, and she gives Mary and Sherlock a very important manuscript that may have serious religious implications, like all over the world. And Dorothy, the archaeologist, dies under strange circumstances. So ancient manuscript, issues of women in Christianity and Judaism, the ancient world, the Middle East, archaeological mystery adventure. It's got everything that I want. I find these so transporting and so distracting. So this has definitely been one of my favorite summer reads of prior years. And I'm actually hoping to get to the one that I need to read next in that series, maybe this summer. I don't have it in my stack of possibilities here, but it's called Pirate King. It's about pirates on like a movie set, and I am just so not excited about that one. It does not appeal to me, and I've just avoided it for years, but I really want to make progress in that series because I love it a lot. So Pirate King needs to happen at some point, but I may or may not get to that this summer. The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd, one of my favorite novels of all time. I find it very beautiful for lots of reasons. Again, like issues of women in faith, like women's spirituality, summertime, intense heat, the South. There is a lot of there's some very heavy subject matter in this book. So if you've never read The Secret Life of Bees, I do highly recommend it. This is one of my favorite covers of all time in a book. Some very intense subject matter though. Racism, deaths in the family, traumatic, like violent events. So just be aware of those things. Maybe look up some trigger warnings before you go into this. But it's set in South Carolina in 1964. and we follow a young girl named Lily Owens, and due to various things that I'm not going to tell you about, because I just feel like the less the better kind of said about this book before you read it, but she leaves home and sets out on a quest to find answers about things, and she meets a circle of women who shelter her and change her life. So yeah, classic summer book. I love it a lot. Walk Two Moons by Sharon Creech. Also intense and heavy subject matter in this one, but it's a middle grade, and I just think that middle grade is so stellar at not softening, but like framing sad, painful things in such a way that we can see the hope through them. And yeah, this is a Newbery winner for a reason. It's a very nostalgic middle grade that I think about a lot, and I think nostalgic middle grade is particularly nice to read in the summer, because you can kind of feel like you're on summer vacation from school and you're a kid, and you know, you don't have to think about taxes and credit cards and stuff just yet, and you can just kind of get lost and just have a real emotional and nostalgic experience in a wonderful story. So yeah, if you've never read Walk Two Moons by Sharon Creech, I do highly recommend that one as well. And then Love and Saffron by Kim Fay. This is epistolary. I know so many of you probably know what this book is and love it. It also takes place in the 1960s, and it's letters between two women who become friends, and it's about food. It's a lot about food and cooking and recipes. It's about place and belonging and trying to like navigate the world as a woman in a time of a lot of turbulence in American society. One of the women lives in Los Angeles, I think. Yeah, and the other one lives in Puget Sound, outside of Seattle. And it's just so beautiful and lovely reading about her home and daily life. And this is just I utterly loved this. I love things written in letters, and stories of female friendship and food. So I was all about that one. And then finally, in terms of some of my favorite summery books, we have I Captured the Castle by Dodie Smith. I really very much need to read 101 Dalmatians by her, because I've heard it's very good. But yeah, I've read this twice now, I think. I also recommend the audiobook. I'll put in the description box down below the specific audiobook narrator that I listened to for this. But this is just look at that. This is just an absolutely delightful, funny, pastoral, ironic book. Again, epistolary. It's someone's diary. I've never really read another book that makes me feel exactly how I feel when I read I Capture the Castle. And as soon as I read the first line, which is, I write this sitting in the kitchen sink, I was like, this is a book for me. And it is. I would say it's kind of Jane Austen-esque in the sense that, like, there are stakes and there are some serious things going on, but everything has kind of that tone of wryness and, like, slight sarcasm, or just the author kind of writing with a sly smile the whole time. So I don't think it needs to be taken tremendously seriously. Really what you're there for is reading Cassandra's diary of their daily life, her life with her sister in this old moldering English castle that they rent as a family. And it's wonderful to get lost in. I think about this book all the time, and I want to reread it frequently. Okay, so those are some past favorites. Now we're gonna get into like stuff that I might want to read or watch or just have around me for distraction this summer. So these are all kind of like summer pile of possibilities books. This is by no means all of them. I have a whole bookshelf out here in the living room, and I've kind of started to just switch it out seasonally and put books that they're on my mind and I'm thinking about them in whatever season that I want to read. So I've put all my summer kind of TBR books on that bookshelf. I'm not going to get to all of them. No way, no how. I'm probably not even going to get to all of these that I'm showing you in this video, but just to show you what's on my mind and what the possibilities are for this summer. So we have Son of the Shadows by Juliet Marillier, which I actually intended to read back in the winter, and then I was just reading too many things at once, and I just realized that I was not going to be able to actually devote my focus and time to this big old fantasy book. So I was like, I need to just put this aside for another season. Getting engrossed in a big fantasy novel very much works for me in the summertime because, again, distracting, transporting. This is in the Seven Waters series by Juliet Marillier. Daughter of the Forest is one of my all-time favorite books. I think about it all the time. Ancient Ireland, magic, the Fae, she's a healer, like herbalist. I mean, I really don't need any more information. And I loved Daughter of the Forest so much that I'm just willing to go along with this trilogy. I know there's more books in the Seven Waters series, but my goal is just to read these 3. So Daughter of the Forest, Son of the Shadows, and Child of the Prophecy. This is like, that's my only goal for now. If I want to go on and read more of them after that, then cool, but I will be fully satisfied if I can just read these 3. Really eagerly anticipating that one, so we'll see if I get to it, but it's on my mind for sure, as is Redwall by Brian Jaques, I don't know how to say it. Funnily enough, I was never a Redwall kid. I feel like you would think that I would have been a Redwall kid, but I was not. I do, in fact, have the Redwall cookbook, and I have looked at it with great delight over the years. And I love the world. Like, I know that I love the world of the Abbey and all of the mice and woodland creatures that these books entail. I'm a little bit... So, like, what has held me back, I think, with this series is I just really don't care about them going off and fighting. Like, I'm just not excited about that part of this series, but I'm gonna try to just get over that, because I just really feel like this is something that I need to experience. It has very cozy little illustrations at the beginning of each chapter. It's the summer of the late rose in this book, and the gentle mice of Mossflower Wood are gathered at the ancient stone abbey of Redwall, celebrating a year of peace and abundance. But a sinister shadow has fallen across the abbey, for it is rumored that Clooney is coming. Clooney, the terrible one-eyed rat, and his battle-seasoned horde. Clooney, whose vow is to conquer Redwall. So, yeah, I'm really hoping to read this one actually in June. And I got this copy on Independent Bookstore Day at one of the newer local to me bookstores that just recently opened. So that was very satisfying. Other summer possibilities. So this is Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman. This is a follow-on from her book Practical Magic, made into the movie that you've probably either seen or heard of with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, one of my favorite films. Also a summer movie for me, even though it's autumnal. I like watching it in the summer and in the fall. So, and that actually, Practical Magic is one of the rare cases in life where I actually enjoy that film more than I enjoy the book, just because of some of the decisions that they made and what they focus on in the film versus kind of her focus in the book. I just really enjoyed that movie. But this one, there's one in like the follow-ons from Practical Magic that I don't want to read. Whatever is the one that's like set in the 1960s, I'm just not drawn to that one. But this one is about Maria Owens. So like the origin of the curse that is on the women of the Owens family. And it takes place in she goes from England to New England to Massachusetts. And I have read a another book by Alice Hoffman called Blackbird House, and I think it's a collection of interconnected short stories, and I really love that book. And the way that Alice Hoffman writes New England, specifically like early witchy New England, is just very enchanting to me. And I think, again, this will be very distracting. So that's one of my summer possibilities. The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro has been on my TBR for years. And specifically, I have been intending to read this in the summer. Like, I always knew I wanted to read it in the summer. This is the year. Like, please, God, I really want to get to this summer. I have very high expectations of this book. After hearing Katie from Books and Things talk about it, this could potentially become one of my favorite books ever. I don't know. I'm just going into it with very high expectations. It's a classic that I really want to get to, and I think the fact that it's like English country house, like the perspective of, isn't he the butler? Yeah, the butler, and just the kind of world of the English aristocratic manor beginning to fade, and like this man who has worked in that world his whole life trying to grapple with that change and what that means about his identity. And I love the film with Emma Thompson and Anthony Hopkins, so I just really want to experience this book in the summertime. So hopefully I will get to that this year. And then speaking of nostalgic middle grade, also really want to get to this summer. This is Book of 1,000 Days by Shannon Hale. And I think this was in my plans for middle grade spring. Like, it was in my possibilities for middle grade spring as well, but I didn't get to it. I love this book so much, and it's been so many years since I've read it. So I can't even really tell you that much about the setup of this book because it's been so long since I've read it. But it follows a young woman named Dashti who is maid to Lady Sharon. And Lady Sharon has been shut up in a tower for 7 years because she refused to marry the man that she was being set up to marry. And this is epistolary. It's Dashti keeping like a journal log of their time in the tower. There's little illustrations in it. So yeah, I'm like super wanting to read that this summer. So that's in the plans for sure. And then this is another book that's been on my TBR for years. And another kind of area or aesthetic that I find I'm really drawn to in the summer is the 1940s, just in general. I hope this takes place in the 40s. I always thought it did. Yeah, as England becomes enmeshed in the early days of World War II, and the men are away fighting, the women of Chilbury village forge an uncommon bond. They defy the vicar's stuffy edict to close the choir and instead carry on singing, resurrecting themselves as the Chilbury Ladies' Choir. An enchanting ensemble story that shuttles from village intrigue to romance to the heartbreaking matters of life and death. Jennifer Ryan's debut novel thrillingly illuminates the true strength of the women in a village of indomitable spirit. So, yeah, really feeling drawn to that one at the moment as well. And then The Winter Sea by Susanna Kearsley. I started this and I probably got, I got that far into it in like January or February, sometime in the winter. And again, it's a big book. I was reading a lot of stuff at the same time, couldn't give it my full attention, so I stopped. But I was very into this and very much enjoying it. I have read Mariana by Susanna Kearsley. I've read The Rose Garden. I've read Named of the Dragon. So this will be my fourth one, I think. Stella's here to say hi, mostly with her tail. So yeah, I really want to pick this back up in the summer and just be carried away by it. So hopefully I will get back to that one. And then I have just a few mysteries on my mind. So I have The Maid by Nita Prose. Never read this before, heard very good things about it. Takes place in a hotel. Focuses on a maid who I think will become the sleuth. That's all I need to know about that one. And then The Crow Trap by Anne Cleeves, which I got for Christmas and started in December. And then we just had so much going on in December that this is just another, like, picked it up and started it. Shouldn't have done that. I seem to do that with, like, big chunky books. I start them when I have too many other things that I'm reading. And then I have to stop. But this is the first book, I think, in the Vera Stanhope mystery series. And I think it will just be very atmospheric. And this, for me, this would be more in the vein of like a grittier mystery, like a crime mystery book, not a cozy book. So, yeah, it might not be for you if you only like cozies, but I am very intrigued by that one. And then, oh boy, all the cats have showed up at the same time. And then this is the Janus Stone by Elly Griffiths. And this is the second one, I think, in the Ruth Galloway mystery series, of which I have only read the first one, and I enjoyed it. Again, I would class it as kind of a grittier mystery, like not the grittiest, but it's not strictly cozy. But archaeology. Ruth is an archaeologist. So yeah, I love that, and I would like to make some progress in this series. So mayhaps we will get to that one this summer. Okay, I realized I think this video is going to be too long, so I'm going to do a part 2. I'm going to wrap this one up now, and in part 2 I will tell you about some summer movies and cookbooks and games that I would like to just have around this summer for fun and distraction. So I'll see you for part 2. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.